is James Slyby. This is my audience. And I'm going to talk about orphan care today. Start off with my first statistic. 5,760 children become orphans per day. That is a harrowing number. We as millennials are all searching for ways to glorify God through our work. This summer, I interned for 8 weeks with a ministry, an orphan care ministry in Mazatlan, Mexico. Through that, I learned that a career in orphan care allows workers a chance to glorify God by providing for the children He loves, the fatherless. I'm just going to do a quick rundown of my speech. First, I'm going to talk about the need for orphan care workers. Second, the types of orphan care workers. Third, the specific areas orphan care workers can provide for orphans. And finally, the biblical applications they can make. My first main point is that there are a lot of orphans in the world, but there are not enough orphan care workers or people to adopt. One stat I have comes from the 5th Annual Report to Congress on Public Law. There are 153 million orphans in the world today. Only 2,500 are adopted per day. There are just simply not enough orphan care workers, and there will not be enough until each child is adopted. Well, that leads me to my second main point. Until that time, orphan care workers fill the void, and there are several types of orphan care workers. One type is workers for an outside organization. This is like the company I interned with this summer. They have full-time missionary staffing. The next is the full-time workers who live and work in the orphanages themselves, such as working in a Salvation Army home. Now, the ideal form is that both of these groups of people join together to provide holistic orphan care. When they join together, it helps the kids in the main aspects of child development. That leads me into my third point, the main aspects of child development that orphan care workers can provide. They are social, emotional, educational, physical, and spiritual. Now, social is the first one. I have a great quote from a PBS article. I'm going to go ahead and read that about the social aspect of child development. Parents play a crucial role in helping children figure out how to form satisfying relationships and develop into socially competent people. Now, obviously, these orphans don't have parents to help them do that. So, the orphan care workers fill that void. The next aspect is emotional development. This is working through the psychological problems that orphans have due to the fact that they are orphans. Back to Back has a great quote on their website where they talk about how they provide emotionally. It reads, "Many of the children who we serve suffer from psychological issues as a result of past abuse and neglect. By living alongside them, we gain their trust and begin a dialogue of recovery. We address these issues such as anxiety, depression, and attachment disorder by offering opportunities for children to seek healing through counseling." That's the emotional aspect. Next is the educational. That simply has to do with gaining an education in a school setting. The UN has a quote about the importance of childhood education. It says, "Education is a right, like the right to have proper food or a roof over your head. Article 26 of the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that everyone has the right to education. Education is not only a right, but a passport to human development." Back to Back, the company I interned with, has a great view on education. They provide scholarships through the HOPE program to give to some orphan kids that go through the program. They also provide very practically in the form of transport to the schools. Those are some of the things I saw this summer when I was there. The fourth point of child development that orphan care workers can provide is that of physical. That's the well-being and the safety and the health of the children. North Dakota State has a quote about the importance of physical development. It says, "Physical development provides children with the abilities they need to explore and interact with the world around them." Back to Back's website reads, "Back to Back partners with children's homes to improve the quality of care for children. They help to meet basic needs such as regular medical and dental care, nutritious meals, warm clothing, clean water, and safe shelter." Well, these are just some of the ways that physical care can be provided. I saw lots of them when I was there this summer. Finally, the last aspect of child development is spiritual. That is to point the orphans toward a God who loves them even though they are fatherless. Back to Back provides for this by forming relationships with the workers who live there and mentoring and loving on the kids, pointing them to God. This leads me into my final main point about the biblical truth that orphan care workers can provide when working with these orphans. One is that God has a heart for these orphans, and He says so in His Word. He has a special place in His heart. I'm going to read a couple of scriptures here. The first one is from Deuteronomy 10:18. God, He executes justice for the orphan and the widow, and He shows His love for the alien by giving him food and clothing. The Father also urges His people to love on orphans. That's shown in Psalm 82:3. Vindicate the weak and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and destitute. Now, as followers of Christ, it is our duty to love the things that God loves. God loves the orphans and the fatherless. That means it is up to us to carry out his calling and love on them. All right. Well, thank you for all coming to my speech today. I hope that I demonstrated that there's a huge need for orphan care workers, that orphan care workers can come in different shapes and sizes, and I hope I demonstrated that there's a social, emotional, educational, physical, and spiritual need of these children that are all grounded in God's love for the fatherless. If you want a job that allows you to seek justice and love God and love people, orphan care is the job for you. Thank you for listening.